All right, welcome back. It's Herdiesley. I've got another matchup video. I didn't actually ask you how to pronounce your name. Is it Miarts?
Oh,
Miforts?
it's Mert.
Mertz. You play. What's your main?
I'm Diamond 4 and I only play Irelia.
Irelia. All right, this matchup is scary. I'm not gonna lie. I get bodied in this lane.
It's an interesting matchup to play.
Um, in terms of how this lane is supposed to go, I feel like you win until level 3, and then you win again after Trinity Force. Is that true?
Um, if the matchup goes 0-0, that's true, yeah.
Okay. Um, what about runes and masteries? You're pretty much running fervor and attack speed runes?
I go 29% attack speed
That's a lot
with
of attack
Fervor.
speed.
Yeah, but it's one of the best pages on Irelia, so
Um, we have a lot of options in terms of masteries. Sorry, brain fart. For Illaoi, um, in terms of runes, you can do something that's like this. It's a standard 15 attack damage rune page, or 14. You can also do something like this. Aurelia is primarily physical and true damage, so
yes.
armor is going to be extremely beneficial. Things like Ninja Tabby. Um, what's the scarier Alawi for you to face? Is it the Grasp, the Deathfire, or the Storm Raiders?
The scariest is the Grasp because you can't kill it.
Okay.
Uh, However, if you play against a Deathfire touch, you have to be like on point. Because if you sidestep both E and Q, Illaoi automatically loses the trade.
That's very true.
So like if you take that fire on Illaoi in this matchup, you're basically saying I'm going to outplay you or I die.
Um, so this is definitely one motion, or one motion. I'm reading the word motion. This is one lane where I definitely suggest Grasp, if you're struggling with this matchup, is going to be better in the extended trades, and it's going to be better early. And I have a few video clips to show that. Um, and in this video clip, this is levels 1 to 3, and this is just showing, even though I took Q level 1 for wave management, I have a lot more authority to stand by the wave.
You're falling away from me.
I'm sorry, what?
You're falling away from me. Your voice.
Oh, it got quiet?
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, anyways, I have a lot more authority in lane to stand up in the minions and start dunking on Irelia over and over. Um,
This Irelia is actually misplaying the lane very heavily. I think Irelia also has grab, right?
um, no, I think she went for her.
Oh, I thought I saw a grasp. Oh no, that's yours. Uh, so in the level 1, Irelia went for a trade. And because you're fervor procced, you didn't actually win the trade, even though you missed your Q.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, this just makes you win the level 1 trades, and as you said, I lose from level 3. So if you already win your level 1 because of Grasp, I only win level 2.
Makes
But
sense.
because you just lost a trade, you go to level 2, and in level 2 you take Q and W does a lot of percentage HP damage. And if I go Q and E, um, and as you saw the Irelia doing, she Q'd onto you, so you take the damage. And then she can stun you, so she doesn't get free damage and she automatically loses the trade.
So this is a Deathfire touch lane. Um, this one he was a lot more aggressive early. And I feel like if you play Storm Raiders or Deathfire, you have to be respectful early of Aurelia.
Yeah, that's correct. You
If
just don't
she
have any way of surviving.
and because your Q is an auto reset, like you can just chunk so hard early.
You can do 3 auto attacks in about 1 second.
Plus you get fervor off that.
Yeah, true.
So even though
So
I
yeah,
land the test of spirit, I'm just
you
gonna
just lose
rewind
this
here.
lane.
Yeah, even though I land the Test of Spirit because she's level 3 and has that early power spike, like, she gets hit with the Q, but it doesn't matter because she's
You,
just
you,
chunking me out.
you just can't win this lane simply because that fire touch does maybe 1 or 2 damage per second. So that's maybe 10 seconds over the entire trade. While the 2 auto attacks of Fervor already out damages that.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment Irelia does her third auto attack, her Keystone Mastery is more valuable than your Keystone Mastery. And level 3, the base stats are well, basically equal ability-wise.
Right.
So you don't have an advantage with that fire touch
So
in this
I
matchup.
feel pretty, I don't know, confident at this point in time. Like, I don't have any charges on my corrupting left, but I've just shoved her in and I have a decent sized minion wave, and I'm just gonna shove this in and back myself.
I
Um,
think that's indeed the best option. Also, you're 1 level over the Irelia, so Irelia can trade at this
yeah.
point.
But it turns out she actually knows something that I don't. And that's that I don't have a tentacle here because I've misplaced a tentacle down here. So because one is right about here on the map, there will not be one that will spawn here even though my passive is up.
Okay.
So I...
See, so she got level 4 of that minion, and that's basically why she wins this trade, actually.
Right. But
Can you slow the
also,
clip down, or?
I landed the Test of Spirit, but there's no
Yeah, but
tentacle in
no.
range.
Yep.
And
This is a
even though
pretty
there's a
big deal.
giant ass minion wave, Irelia still has the ridiculous high, nice base damage, and I haven't been respectful enough early.
So yeah, that's quite unlucky.
Yeah.
She got level 4 of that minion as well, otherwise she would have still won the trade, so that was a pretty close one.
In terms of starting items, you're going corrupting, correct?
Yes.
Is there a
There's
reason
some
to
people that
do
do.
blade? Doran's blade?
Doran's Blade, I mean, if you just want to like shove the first wave, and then you start Q at level 1, and you take an extended level 1 fight, then you can start Doran's. But like, if it doesn't go your way as Irelia, your Doran's is useless, you have used your potion, and you have to do it with 3% lifesteal instead of 2 extra potions that give damage as well.
Right.
So it's just a really greedy start.
So I have a replay from... This is the Grasp game. I want to talk about level 6 power spike. How do you win the fight at level 6?
Well, as Illaoi, it's pretty easy. You just get some tentacles, you press R.
Right, right. But Irelia, you need to dodge Test of Spirit.
That's useful, but you can actually dodge Illaoi ultimate as Irelia. As you see here, if Irelia, let's just assume she was level 6, she could ult WQ on the cannon minion, and your ultimate would have missed, I think. Maybe it would have just barely hit, but then she would have been out anyway, so you wouldn't you couldn't do any damage.
I think the range is about here.
Yeah, right. So you wouldn't have gotten the bonus tentacles, and the tentacles couldn't have hit because there are no tentacles.
You can even do that as Irelia without your ultimate. You just may not get your cooldown refund on the Q, but you would still disengage, and I would lose my ultimate.
Exactly. But yeah, sure, Irelia is level 5 right now, so right now what she wants to do is just Q out of, Q towards the minion, and make sure she gets out. But if Irelia was level 6 in this case, I think it's more beneficial to get the ult stack off, because at this point, it will also hit you if she throws it that way.
Right.
And you get more healing if you hit a champion with your ultimate. So she will get about like maybe 60 HP from this one ult stack already, and Irelia is maybe at 60% HP right now.
This is like a fight between two drain tanks.
Basically. But yeah, you just see like, she takes the ultimate and then you're dead.
Alright, so that's a fight where Irelia misplayed, and I got the level 6 power spike on her. I'm going to show you how important the level 6 power spike is elsewhere. And that is here. I think this is the Deathfire Touch game. And she ends up turning around, but Lee Sin kind of baits me in. Because ordinarily I would just concede the wave and back.
Yeah, there's no way you can actually do that. You have to remember that Irelia W at level 3 does 45 true damage, plus about maybe 60, 70 damage from basic attacks.
Right. And I don't
So
remember
that's
what I'm
about.
actually sitting on, but I do want to point out she's 6 and I'm 4 at this moment.
You're taking 5 actually, I think, right after
Yeah,
that
I
minion
hit
dies.
5 right as this melee creep dies.
So you're like already right now you're pretty low HP. You do get a couple of heals off, otherwise you would have died here already. And like at this point you should have just immediately conceded the lane because she still has her fervor stacks, I think. Maybe not. I think she has them. So her basics do probably about 120 damage per basic attack.
Right.
At about 20 to that for her Q. So 3 basic attacks is like almost 300 damage.
I just want to point out like how back and forth swingy this lane can go just based on advantages and minions and how you play your cooldowns.
Yeah, this matchup is all about like very small missteps from your opponent that allow you to take an advantage. There's no actual setting up a play.
I'm trying to remember in what order I was going to do this. I have a... This is a fight where I went the Storm Raider search in the second game against this guy, and I want to point out how like important it is even for you to dodge skill shots or me to hit them. In this instance, I was maxing E instead of Q. I normally recommend Q for almost anyone, except in this matchup. This is one matchup where if Irelia is good and she knows when to jump on you...
I have no idea what you're saying. I can't hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah, Illaoi players will know. The Q is the tentacle smash.
Yeah, I meant your voice was gone again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I cannot know what you were saying. So if you go back, we can see that Irelia makes.
She gets hit by about 3 tests of
So
spirit in a
here,
row.
she gets hit by Q. She gets hit by E.
Yeah, she gets hit by
And
E.
she gets a lot of damage. Okay, she backs off right now. That's fine. She doesn't have any potions, so there's no sustain. She has ultimate, so what she should do right now is just ult this wave. And like she doesn't sidestep any tentacles, even though if you do this correctly, you can always sidestep the tentacles from
Right.
Illaoi.
Unless I
Also,
ult.
Yes, unless you ult, but you didn't in this case. So, well, I mean,
I
you did,
ult here,
but
and the reason
but
I ult here is because if I can kill the spirit, I'll have 1, 2, 3 tentacles around the
Yeah.
Irelia that are all gonna instantly swing and hit,
so
and that's gonna
what you should.
insta kill.
So this Illaoi, or this Irelia, I mean, just made a mistake. She got hit by the first Q, which was okay. Then she got hit by the E, and then she should have just ulted the wave. But then she got hit by 2 additional Qs, and now she got hit by another E. And at this point, she sees you ult. So what she should do is flash, because she has flash up, but she doesn't.
She's actually gonna survive here, because had I maxed Q instead of E, this tentacle hit would have been enough damage.
Okay, so yeah, this is just for any matchup. You can't recall when your Illaoi ulted.
Right.
Or Illaoi eat, because...
But the
Well,
decision I made
never.
to max E because she was jumping on my body every time she could last matchup, because she was winning. This matchup, I wanted the E cooldown in order to fight her in melee a little bit more, but had I maxed Q because I was winning the matchup already, she would be dead here.
Yes.
So this is a fight where I actually have the advantage, and I named this clip "Don't Throw" because it's important, even if you're like 2-0 up, not to do silly things that are stupid. Because Irelia has turn potential. Like, if
Yeah,
you
she does.
misplay, Irelia can just turn.
Yeah.
How long is your stun at max rank?
2 seconds.
Yeah. So, I end up flash ulting and just getting hit by about 8 tower shots.
Yeah, this was really greedy.
But she's 2 levels down.
Yeah, but the tower is really strong.
1, 2, 3, 4 hits with no minions in the range. Yeah, it's nuts. So, literally
Yeah.
just don't throw.
You got stunned twice in that duration as well, so that is a 2.5 second stun.
He missed alt. I don't think
you have ult at level.
I think I incorrectly named my files. I think that's my fault. I think I named my video clips incorrectly. Because that should have been my don't miss skill shots. That's definitely a play where I missed the E and then she got to trade on me for free.
I guess. Yeah.
So I think this is the last of my laning videos. This is an advantage of maxing E as Illaoi when you are playing against Irelia. I landed one E there, didn't really do any damage. Landed another one.
I have no idea what you're saying, by the way, so.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about the E max on Illaoi again. I ended up landing 2 tests of spirit within less than a minute. And then
Skype is not really working. Can you just go on Discord?
Discord? Yeah. Can we use the screen share on Skype still? Is that working all right?
Okay.
Hey, is the
see if it
Skype
works.
screen share still working okay?
Yeah, it's still working.
Okay, I'm just gonna mute myself on there and leave the
Yeah.
Skype call up.
So we're talking about Emacs.
Yeah, my phone was just going off too. So we're talking about Emacs in this specific instance because I land 1 test of spirit, and then as she's running away, I run 2 tests of spirit.
Yeah.
Go back to farm.
At this point, you have, I think, yeah, you have a freeze over here. A really small one though, and you pause here. Oh, never mind. Hecarim is coming up top.
Right.
So Irelia's making a few big mistakes here. First of all, she has no idea where Hecarim is, because if she would have, she wouldn't have gone here. Second of all, the wave is frozen, and she decides not to ult clear the wave just before the other minion wave arrives to get it under your tower and have it pushed back. So she gets a free recall. Instead, she decides to check this bush and clear the ward, which makes her very vulnerable to ganks. And Lee Sin is quite a while away.
I think we had been fighting over vision in this brush for a little while before I started this clip.
Okay, so might have been that she already knew that it was there, so that she intentionally went there to clear the ward.
Right.
But then still, it is a really greedy play if you have no idea where the enemy jungler is.
So I'm going to go ahead and play this. If you go ahead and ult this, and she runs out of range instantly, because there's no way I can jump onto Irelia at this point.
Yeah.
Like, if Irelia wants to disengage for me, she can disengage for me. The only time I'm going to get a kill on you is when you fight me. But I had fun in this clip noting that had I not ulted, Hecarim would have died.
Yeah, true.
Um, so in terms of item builds, we had a talk, we had a lot of clips. Um, if you build Trinity Force in terms of item spikes, when can you win the fight and when can I win the fight?
If I built as Irelia built 24, so as Illaoi.
As you as Irelia build Trinity Force, and I
Um,
build something like Trinity Force as well. How is the how's the matchup going to go?
if we both build Trinity Force, um, Phage gives me a lot more strength because, I mean, Phage gives you some flat AD, but you're going to waste time spamming abilities that I'm supposed to sidestep. While it still gives me bonus damage on my 29% attack speed room page.
Okay.
Sheen gives you, Sheen's kind of equal, and Stinger is more effective on my Fervor.
I would
However,
wholeheartedly agree with that.
yeah, um, Illaoi, however, if you take Grasp, it doesn't matter what component you build because it's just like 4 seconds and you proc it. And only Phage gives some HP, so it would scale a little bit higher with that. And I think before Trinity, there's no point in fighting as Irelia unless Illaoi wastes either E or Q and W for minions or so.
Mm-hmm.
And after Trinity, I think directly after Trinity, Irelia has the advantage up to like level 15 or so, when Illaoi starts to get 2-3 items.
So if I do something a little bit more normal, like Black Cleaver, then how does the matchup go?
Black Cleaver is a really cheap item for 2600 gold, I think.
Yeah, like
Whereas,
the Kindle Gem's only 800. And since you're
yeah, so
mostly physical and true damage, building the flat health is going to be highly beneficial.
yeah, so Kindle Gem is actually a really nice item because it gives 10% cooldown reduction as well, which is the good part, in my opinion. Um, the only moment I can fight you is when you have cooldowns, and if your cooldowns are 10% shorter, means I have 10% less time to fight you.
Makes
And the
sense?
benefit as well for Black Cleaver is that it gives 20% cooldown reduction at a way cheaper cost that Trinity Force gives its stats. So you have a way earlier strong power spike when I'm at 3.5 component of my Trinity Force.
So in terms of just timing, because my items are cheaper, I'm going to hit my power spike before you hit your power spike.
Yeah.
So what if we have a Steraks on top of that cleaver? Like if you
Uh,
have Tabi, maybe like a chain vest or a double cloth or something like that. Are we still talking about the same? Like we have a relatively cheap Steraks purchase, but your items are
um,
more expensive?
if you build, wait, so you build Black Cleaver and Starex, right?
Yes.
So Starex is about 2,600 gold more. No, 2,300. Which means that I have about 1,600 gold to spend as Irelia. Yeah. That means that I can either get Billswater Cutlass to build
Okay.
into a Blaze Ruined King, in which case I would still not fight you until I finish my Blade Ruined King. Or I can build what's the item called? A BS Sword, in which case I do think I can fight you because I get 45 bonus damage
Yeah,
as
that's a
opposed to
lot. I am
25, I
I'm
think.
a fan of the Bloodthirster build.
Yeah, me too. I think against Illaoi, it's good in this situation, in this matchup. I would probably build it with the Hecarim as well,
Mm-hmm.
but often I would still go for the Titanic Hydra, which I could also do for the Tiamat and just
And
wave clear and
the
sit under
wave
my
clear
tower.
would be beneficial. Um, all right, so moving back onto the video clips. This is a clip. I think I flash alt. Um, one mechanic, you always end up like queuing the creep in order to last hit it. And I
Yeah.
think it's important to get into the Aurelia's head and figure out how she's going to do that, whether she's going to walk up for certain creeps or how she's posturing. Because I don't think you can do this reactively.
No, that's well. I mean, if you're really fast and have like 5 ping.
Yeah, but it's a cannon creep.
Yeah, this one you queue. That's as Irelia also you just don't give up this. Oh wait a second. No, Irelia actually made a misplay there. She could have waited one more tower shot, and then basically it would have just died. Like, oh no, never mind. She couldn't have done that, but she could have queued earlier, which not even she neither. Never mind.
Okay.
This was this was probably the best thing she could do. However, she knew probably not, otherwise she wouldn't have done it. That you were going to press E. So what you could have done was just press W and basic the minion.
I have another clip that I want to show you, and I think it's going to blow your mind. I was, after 2 games fighting this guy, I was in his head.
That one was really smooth. I don't think, as Irelia, you could have done anything to this. Like, I mean, any Irelia player would have done this.
If you can master this, if you can master landing the test of spirit when she goes to Blade Surge to a minion, you can win the Irelia matchup. Like, she just can't do anything if you can predict where she's going before she knows where she's going.
This is what basically decides the matchup. If Illaoi hits multiple E's, and if she's able to consistently hit multiple E's, there's nothing you can do as Irelia. You have to run away, give up some minions, give away the entire lane, and then, like, if you hit 2 Test of Spirits as Illaoi, you just call your jungler up top lane and you dive your opponent, and he misses 20 minions, and you're 2 levels ahead, and you win the game.
So that's pretty much covers everything in the 1v1 scenario. Did you have anything else?
I think that's about it.
Okay. You want to talk about team fighting?
Let's go.
I think Illaoi has a huge team fight advantage. I think if you get behind as Illaoi, Irelia should split push you to death.
Yes. I think the team fight advantage you have as an Illaoi comes from Irelia players not really knowing how to optimize their builds. 9 out of 10 Irelias will build the Blade of the Ruined King. But against an Illaoi, it's actually really good to build a Locket of the Iron Solari, which basically negates all damage from ult that Illaoi puts out if your team runs away. Yeah, Locket.
Yeah, I've never heard of somebody building Locket on Irelia.
It's one of the best items that you can build on Irelia. It's one of the things we usually do right now.
Okay.
I
guess I haven't been playing Irelia that much lately.
It's just a more consistent version of Guardian Angel.
Okay.
That shields your entire team.
I think in this instance she ended up going Randuin's after Trinity. But this is a team fight scenario where we have a mid Riven that completely gets bodied. But Irelia basically stomps that Riven and then is going for the chase reset fight. I think in this instance she definitely needs to pay attention to me.
Yeah, okay. She walked up too far there.
So I've got a tentacle spawning here, and Lissandra and everyone. Like, that's just it. Like, I just won the team fight.
Yeah, this is just... It always damages really high, but ultimate...
I was 0-4.
That's what I mean.
I was 0-4, and then suddenly I get 2 kills. One of them's a shutdown, and then we chase the Lissandra, because I have red buff.
One of the things, however, is Trinimir's dead. Lissandra doesn't have ult. Gragas, I think, either does have explosive cast or just... No, he does have explosive cast. So he could have opted... No, wait. Does he have mana? I don't think he has mana, so he couldn't press ult. So there's a lot of small factors here that influence this play. The fact that Irelia doesn't have any defensive items to help her team. The fact that Gragas can't press R. The fact that Lysandra can't press R. Um, any one of those abilities would have stopped you from pulling off this play.
And they literally all just walked into melee range of me.
That's, I mean, I don't know who made up that play.
So this is a mid-game team fight, same game. So this is support Gragas. I think this is relatively close after that.
Wait, he didn't even body slam you.
Right. And then he just kind of wanders around pressing W a whole bunch without anything. But that's a support Gragas for you.
I don't know. You can 1v2 in a 2v1 in Illaoi. That's basically never possible.
Yeah.
Especially not in lower elo.
So in this clip, she is 7 and 5. She has Randuin's and she has Trinity. I'm sitting on Cleaver, Randuin's, Trinity. So she's still significantly ahead of me in the split push. So I could be split pushing up here, but I think she's still going to win the 1v1. So I'm just going to group with my team.
I think grouping is mid-game, as Illaoi is always better to do, unless you are very far ahead.
Tryndamere is just terrible for me to deal with. Lysandra has Sonya's and ult, and I don't want to deal with that. And Lucian is garbage for me to deal with in a, fight situation. So I definitely think team fighting is going to be a better option. I know everybody is kind of hell-bent on the split push, myself included, but team fight, because Gragas is bad, and he will actually hand deliver me into the back line.
It is Gragas. So he made 2 big mistakes, this Gragas. The first mistake was all the way at the beginning of the fight, at the beginning of the clip, where you're here. In this situation, he should have immediately pressed R. He would have had a 4-man ult backward, allowing his team to be able to take this dragon before your team arrived. And then he just, I don't know, he ended, I guess. And then you get like a 4-5-man ultimate, and that means 4 tentacles. That means about, I don't know, 600 damage times 4 is like 2400 damage per person.
Yeah. I think that covers everything that I had.
Alright.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add to the matchup?
Not really.
Well, Mart, I really appreciate you coming in and talking about the Irelia perspective.
It's my pleasure.
If they want to find you, hit up twitch.tv/me4rts. I have it up on the... Why is Discord on there? Discord, go away. There we go. Okay. Twitch.tv/me4rts. And then I think I originally found you on the Irelia Discord server, yes?
Yes.
I'm actually pretty impressed with your Discord server. It looks pretty awesome.
I don't know, it's the best one I've seen so far.
Alright. I think that covers it for us. Thanks again. I'm going to upload this and we'll see you later.
Great. See you.